Nous reconnaissons que nous sommes sur un territoire autochtone millénaire, lieu de rencontre et de diplomatie entre les peuples, ainsi que du traité de la Grande Paix. Nous remercions la nation Kanien'kehá:ka Mohawk de son hospitalité en territoire non cédé.
We have our athlete from Mexico. Please report to the marshalling area, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Girls B Platform Finals. Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue à la grande finale des filles plateforme B. Représentant l'Allemagne, representing Germany, Sina van der Laan. Représentant le Portugal, representing Portugal, Luisa Fragoeiro Arco. Représentant la Finlande, representing Finland, please welcome Kerttu Toivonen. Représentant la Roumanie, representing Romania, please welcome Amélie Enya Foster. Représentant le Canada, representing Canada, Presley Deck. Representing USA, représentant les États-Unis, Molly Gray. Représentant l'Australie, representing Australia, please welcome Ruby Drogemuller. Representing Mexico, représentant le Mexique, accueillons Elia Jimena González Chiapa. Représentant le Canada, representing Canada, please welcome Mathilde Laberge. Representing the USA, Anna Lemkin. Représentant la Grande-Bretagne, representing Great Britain, please welcome Maisie Bond. And from Australia, de l'Australie, accueillons Charlie Petrov. Ladies and gentlemen, here are your finalists, Group B, Platform Finals. Mesdames et messieurs, voici vos finalistes à la plateforme B.
Welcome back. We are here in Montreal at the World Junior Championships in Montreal at the Olympic Stadium. It's a stunning venue. I'm here with Kaylee Mackay, Canadian Olympian, best friend, newlywed, a bunch of other great things. Kaylee, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So, you know, this was your event. How do you feel?
I mean, I'm very excited to watch. This is a really cool event to have in this pool. I mean, it's a great group of divers, and you know, looking back on it now, I realize how long it's been since I've been at a junior world. So it's really cool to see these kids living what I went through as well. So really looking forward to it.
And you'll be able to tell us throughout the event if it's similar diving to what you were doing in the Group B. We kind of saw in the last Group B event on the 3-meter, the boys are doing some more intense dives than we're used to seeing from B group. So the girls B group platform, you know, it's very standard to see a lot of back 2.5 tucks, inward 2.5 tucks, front 2.5 pikes. So I guess we'll see if we see some higher DD, and we might be also moving up in the girls.
Yeah, well, we already know that there's a few kids that have been on the international circuit already, and they've had a bit of experience, and I think there's a lot to look forward to. And there are a few high degree of difficulty dives coming up, so it's going to be super exciting and nice to see the growth of girls and this young.
I totally agree. And for this event, just like the last one, they bring their score in from their first 4 dives in this event because it's platform from the compulsories. And then in the final, they only compete their 3 optional dives, which are their difficult dives. This is a forward 2.5 somersault full twist. We would call that a full in. She twisted before she somersaulted. We normally see the somersault and then the twist, but on platform, it is common to see the twist before the somersault. Not a bad start for Germany. Significantly better than in the prelim. She only got a cumulative score of 33.35 on that dive in the prelim. So that was significantly better with the 52.2. Luisa from Portugal.
She's currently training at Edmonton in Canada, so we've been able to see her dive a little bit more. A very strong up-and-comer with a lot of potential, and pretty cool that she's able to dive for Portugal. We haven't seen a diver for Portugal for a very long time.
It's really nice to see those other countries being able to participate. A really nice start for Luisa.
Very nice start.
Beautiful form, really nice technique. It was just really simple and really beautiful to watch.
And you see her pike position, toes pointed, really nice. She went a little bit over, so they might take away for that, but overall, really beautiful dive.
Very consistent too from the prelim. And this sport is really all about consistency. That's what we want to see here in the final. It's been a really long day for the athletes. There's so many athletes here. There's so many events to get through. They're powering through. It's the end of the day.
Yeah, this event is something to get through as well for juniors. It's their first real experience at a very long event. We'll see in the other events coming up as well that they have around like 35, 40 divers. So, you know, having to stick it out for prelims for that long and then come back and do a strong final is something that, you know, it's a good thing to learn from.
Absolutely. Starting with the reverse on the 10-meter from Finland.
Not necessarily the best start. You can see she had an aggressive takeoff, but that come out and entry was a little bit loose. See her arms come back and then the splashes come back with it. So not necessarily the start that she would be looking for.
2 more dives to hopefully get a hold on the score, finish strong. Next up, Emiliana, Romania, on the 7.5 meter inward 2.5 somersault tuck position. I do always say this. It's very common to see athletes start the final with the inward rotation. It's kind of a safe bet. There's no approach or hurdle involved, usually a higher DD.
Quite quite a nice dive overall. I mean, I really like that takeoff. It's nice to see these athletes doing this dive particularly well because you know that it means that they can transfer it up to 10 meter eventually to do the 3.5. This one overall was really good. She missed the entry a little bit, but like I said, that top was quite nice, tuck position quite nice, and you know, very promising.
Absolutely. Very tight tuck is really important, especially in this sport. You want to get as tight as possible to get as much rotation as possible.
Coming up, we have the Canadian hometown crowd.
Presley Deck up on the 10 meter, starting with her back 2.5 somersault half twist. A lot of focus we're seeing on the 10 meter.
And overall, good dive. She went a little bit short on that entry, but you know, she had quite a nice jump on that. This dive is, you know, one that divers generally get a little bit scared of to learn because it's a twister and a lot of new parts of the dive. So overall, good dive, but just a little short on that entry.
And it can be very difficult to get enough rotation spinning and then switch into that twisting position. What will come next for Presley would be a 1.5 twister with the 2.5 somersault. Not yet, but so promising. Molly from the United States of America, she's new on the international scene. She did win silver on platform in the B group for the 2022 USA Diving Junior National Championship, so very promising. On the 5 meter with the forward 2.5 somersault pike. Really strong. That's gonna look really nice when she takes it up to the 10 meter for the forward 3.5 pike. Just a little bit over, not coming out, looking and stretching for the water. It's called digging. You don't want to dig on the bottom. You want that really nice clean entry. Australia. Ruby with her inward 2.5 somersault pike position. Definitely room for improvement from the prelim. Scoring only 3.5 for 4.5. This is a really tricky dive. Inwards, you want to stay tall, you want to get height, you want to get rotation, especially in the pike position. You're playing a tricky game with your feet and your toes on the board.
Super important to be confident on this dive as well, even though it's scary. I mean, see, she has quite long legs as well, so that can also be scary, but I mean, she's dealt with it quite well. And overall, pretty decent dive. Beautiful pike position.
Beautiful pike position. Her nose is right there in her legs. Just a little bit, almost not confident in her come out.
Yep.
Just needs to be a little bit quicker, grabbing her hands and ultimately doing that pike save once she enters the water. Don't forget the dive is not done just because you've hit the water. There's still work to do. On the 7.5 meter, Elia Jimena on competing a forward 2.5 somersault pike position. This is a very common dive to see in the C group, B group. When you hit the A group, you're up on the 10 meter with the forward 3.5, whether it be the tuck or the pike.
And at this point, you're really just trying to learn the technique and get comfortable enough with it that you can add another flip, and that was a beautiful dive.
That was really nice.
Very beautiful takeoff, nice position in the air, and she lined up quite nicely with it as well on the entry.
Canada, Mathilde, on the 7 meter. Her whole list is from the 7 meter. She's starting with the forward 2.5 somersault pike position like we just saw. She did really well in the prelim, receiving 7, 7.5 on this. We would love to see the consistency in the final.
One thing I really liked about Mathilde's prelim was her compulsories, and that's a great advantage to have, having good compulsories coming into the final, knowing that you did everything you could in the prelim and just having to focus on these harder dives. Not necessarily the start that we would want to see from Mathilde. A little bit over might have been the adrenaline, the excitement.
Yep.
But overall, you know, the top was beautiful, pike was beautiful. She just seemed to duck her head a little bit and give it a little bit too much at the end. It could have lined up a little bit more straight on that.
The best thing to do, forget about it, shake it off, on to the next dive.
Yep.
Anna from the United States up on the 10 meter, the back 2.5 somersaults with the 1.5 twist.
Super interesting. Really nice to see an athlete in the B group doing all their optionals on 10 meter. It's quite interesting.
She did win gold at the Junior Nationals in the United States this year. So definitely promising for this event. A really big dive for a B group. Landing just a little bit short. It's so important to have a strong takeoff on those back twisting dives. There's a lot happening in the air, the twisting, the somersaulting, making sure you're tight in your twist, tight in your pike. She could have just squeezed a little bit more on that bottom for that come out. She took a lot of the water on her legs, creating that big splash.
Luckily, she does have a high DD on that dive, so should keep her up there a little bit.
All of her optionals are a DD of 3.2, which is very high, especially for this event. We're seeing a range of DD from 2.4 all the way up to 3.2.
Coming up now, we have Maisie Bond from Great Britain doing a 205C on 7 meter with room to improve from prelims.
This was the scariest dive I ever had to do, always.
This was one of my favorite dives to
Really?
do, always. Beautiful dive from her. I mean, a little bit over on the entry, but she's such a beautiful diver. Beautiful lines, very strong takeoffs, amazing positions in the air. Very, very promising for the future. It's nice to see them. You know, seems like she spots on that. She did have a little bit of an over rotation, but it was more because she didn't come out at the right time.
100%. And yeah, like you said, very beautiful. It's really important. It's such an artistic sport to have those nice lines, those beautiful come outs, very strong, very confident, and that's what the judges want to see. Our 12th diver in the first round, Charlie from Australia. Charlie is really an up-and-comer for Australia. Commonwealth Games gold medalist on 10 meter synchro with Melissa Wu. We also saw her in Calgary at the Canada Cup this year, so she's in the senior circuit. Really impressive diver, really great prelim. Looking forward to seeing what she can do here in this final.
Very strong takeoff.
Yeah.
You know, this is a great event to get experience from. Like you said, she's on the senior circuit, and she's one of my competitors. And, you know, she's really showing that she's a very powerful, very high potential diver. This, you know, a miss like this happens, not necessarily what she wanted to start with. But, you know, she does have a lot of high DD. She's also on 10 meter for the rest of her dives and has, you know, room to make up, and she can do it.
She also was ending up with really high scores in her compulsories, which is going to help with that score coming into this final. Looking at the standings, Great Britain, Germany, Mexico. Almost a tie for second, third, fourth, really just between 1.5 points. Only 2 more dives. Starting round 2 of this event, up on the 10 meter, Germany. Sina competing inward 2.5 somersault pike position. She's going into this round in second. She finished the prelim in 12th, going into second round in second.
And definitely does have space for improvement from her prelim, so let's hope we can see something positive come out of this inner 2.5 pike.
It was really, really beautiful to watch, just a bit heavy on that entry.
Seemed like the rotation wasn't necessarily super controlled on the bottom. The top was beautiful, like the pike was beautiful, just a little bit out of control on the bottom there.
Something that, you know, takes some time to learn, and I found for myself in the B group, is when you're actually coming out of the dive, there's something called the, you would pike out. It's called piking out. That's where you can really see the water, figure out how you want to maneuver your body and stretch for the water. It's so important to not be too close to the water before you enter. And you can see they're learning. We're seeing a lot of pike come outs. We're just not seeing a lot of consistency with the entry.
Now we have Luisa diving for Portugal, doing a 205C. I've seen her do this beautifully, and I really do enjoy watching her do this because I find she generally has quite a bit of control on it.
Wow.
I really like that dive. It was a little bit over in a sense. We see her bend a little bit on the bottom. That's just generally when your arms can't quite stay up on the bottom there.
A little bit of head back on the takeoff.
Yep.
That one will always get you. Head back on the takeoff usually means you're not going to see your spot exactly when you want to. A little delayed for that over come out. But overall, nice scores. Very similar to her prelim score on that dive. We're going to see the same dive on the 7 meter. Kuritu from Finland. A very pivotal dive, the backwards. We're seeing a lot of front and inward and back twisters, comfortable dives. When it comes to back and reverse, you really need to be spotting your somersault. You need to be confident in your spotting and your kicking out of the dives. A very confident dive here.
That was a beautiful dive. You could see the jump, you could see the head down on that top, and you could see that she knew exactly where she was and lined up almost perfectly for that.
And it's very clear when the athlete isn't confident doing the dive. There are so many nuances you can see, and that was just, she exuded confidence, and it was awesome.
Quite a big improvement from our prelim score too, which is always a positive.
Always, yes. Almost 20 points more than her prelim score. Romania, Emiliana on the 5 meter, forward 2.5 somersault, pike position.
Not a bad dive. I mean, the top wasn't necessarily super high, and having a 2.5 on 5 meter is not an easy thing to do at this age. You don't have as much space, you don't have as much time, so trying to fit that much rotation, and you can see she didn't quite grab her hands at the bottom and had a bit too much rotation. So doing more rotations on lower platforms means that you have to be able to control it and spin fast. So.
On the 7 meter, Canada, Presley Deck, an inward 2.5 somersault, tuck position. Beautiful.
That was a gorgeous dive. I had a feeling she was a little nervous for that, and I was a little nervous for her too, but that was a beautiful dive. Look at this tuck you'll see in the replay. It's just so tight, so gorgeous, and also that line on the bottom. She's got beautiful lines.
So stunning. The judges don't have the luxury of the replay. They have to be focused, paying attention. They only get one opportunity to score the dive. They miss the tiny, tiny, tiny things that we may see in the replay. That was a really beautiful dive by Presley. Only one more dive for Presley for this event. Now we have Molly Gray, United States of America, up on the 10-meter, competing the same dive, but in the pike position.
That was a great dive. I found that she grabbed her hands a little bit early, which kind of stops the rotation, makes her go a little bit short on that. But overall, top was quite good, and pike position was quite good as well. It's nice to see this dive on 10 meter as well in this event.
We've been seeing, you know, a little bit of the coming out, reaching early in this event. Do you think it's nerves?
It could be nerves, but it's also adjusting. She might have went over in prelims, and that's sometimes, you know, you make a mistake in prelims, you try to over-exaggerate it a little bit in the final, and sometimes it's all about learning.
Yes.
You got to learn how to compete, and that's why we're doing this.
100%. Ruby, back 2.5 somersault tuck position.
That was a beautiful top, a beautiful tuck. She just came out a little bit late. You know, it happens to the best of us.
It happens to all of us.
Happens to all of us.
Super important about that. Yeah, she had such a high jump.
She could have done that on 5 meter.
That was the culprit, the high jump.
It was.
She saw her spots. She kicked really confidently, just super high. It's really, really great to see the confidence in these girls.
From the 10 meter, we have Elia doing a back 2.5 half.
Very nice. A little bit of water on that entry.
Seems like maybe she just didn't quite hit the water with her hands flat enough, or she was rotating a little loose as well on the bottom. But I really did like her connection from the twist into the pike. That's a really important thing for these kids to learn early. And one of the most important things that you're learning with this dive, because once you add that extra twist on back 2.5, 1.5, that connection is super important. So really good to see.
It becomes a whole new dive.
Coming up, we have the Canadian.
On the 7 meter, Mathilde, another back 2.5 somersault tuck position.
Mathilde is another diver that has a lot of potential with this dive. I've seen her do it quite well, and I generally like her control with it as well. She's got a very nice kick. Straight jump.
So, you know, the takeoff was beautiful. That's what we want to see always. She was very strong, arms straight up to the ceiling. She kept her chest and her head in line. Unfortunately, just not giving herself a ton of rotation in the somersault, therefore landing it a bit short.
Sometimes anticipating that entry as well can lead to us going short, and you know, I think that was a correction made on the top. I think she did a really good job with that straight up, and you know, if you don't do it a lot and it was a correction you made in the competition, you don't know how to adjust on the bottom. So
It's all about practice, learning, always learning. How does it feel when I have a great takeoff? How does it feel when I have a not so great takeoff? How should I kick, et cetera, et cetera. And that's all part of the game and the learning experience.
Learning how to adjust and adapt. Now on the 10 meter, we have a very cool dive, one that I can't do. A handstand, arm stand, 2 flips with 1.5 twist.
Backwards.
Backwards.
A difficult dive. Honestly, straight up and down, just really heavy on the entry.
I think one of the main things with this dive that is important to learn is the kip. If you kip a little bit too down, a kip is when you throw off the tower. If you kip too far down, it's quite hard to control on the bottom. You don't just drop into the water like you would like to, and that's the main thing I see with this dive, but she's got a great connection to her twist and a lot of potential for this one to improve.
Great Britain, Maisie Bond. A big dive, inward 3.5 somersault tuck position. I'm excited to see this. We're gonna see one more from Anna from USA in the 3rd round. This is gonna be the first inward 3.5 tuck we see on the 10 meter. High DD, 3.2.
I really liked her inward 3.5 in the prelim, so let's see what she can do here. Beautiful top, beautiful tuck. I mean, I just love her diving overall. It was a little bit falling, I found. It wasn't quite the jump up that we need, which also can contribute to the having a hard entry to control on the bottom, really just dropping into it. Ended a little short. And
Definitely not as good as the prelim.
No.
But still so much potential. Charlie with the back arm stand, double 1.5 twist. Okay, so it took me, did it take me a long time to figure this out? I could never figure out why we always did 1.5s, 2.5s, 3.5s, but when I was doing a handstand, I was only doing a flip or a double.
Yep.
Well, you're starting in the head first position.
Yep.
Just simple things that don't click, you
They
know?
just don't make sense sometimes.
Yeah.
This dive doesn't make sense to me, so I give kudos to anyone that does it.
There's definitely a lot that goes into it. You're starting in the handstand, like Kaylee said before, the kip. Really nice.
Beautiful.
Really nice from Charlie.
She has very good entries generally, and this was just a perfect example of that. So powerful, very controlled, and I mean, she's been training with Melissa Wu. She's her synchro partner right now, so I, from experience, know that you can learn a lot from the older divers, the more experienced divers, and you can see so much from Charlie right now, learning from Mel and, you know, everyone that she's training with.
And you learned, would you say, a lot from training synchro with Megan Benfido?
Yes, 100%. I learned so much, and a lot of my experience I give thanks to her because she warned me about it, she prepared me for it, and I had a lot to thank her for.
Standings after the 2nd round. Charlie from Australia in 1st, Presley from Canada in 2nd.
Look at how tight this is for 2nd, 3rd.
Maisie from Great Britain in 3rd. Like Kaylee was saying, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is the difference between 0.85. So this 3rd round is going to be tight. It's going to be exciting. Some people save their biggest dive for the end. Some people save their most confident dive for the end. 12 more divers. We don't know what the end looks like. This is what makes it exciting.
Very exciting. And one thing I am very interested in is seeing Sina from Germany. She qualified for the final in 12th, and she's in 5th, and, you know, pushing up on the podium there.
It's a really impressive jump. Sina is finishing off this event with a forward 3.5 somersault pike position on the 10 meter. This is definitely a big dive. It was one of my personal favorites. The bottom, heavy. I mean, you see the tape on her ankle. I can't imagine what it's like doing the approach takeoff off the platform like that. Kaylee might know better than anybody. She's tight in her pike. She just comes out, and thanks to the slow motion, you can see that the come out is very rushed. She comes out, doesn't put her arms all the way out to the side in that open pike position and reaches for the water, which does often cause that quick entry, not straight up and down with a lot of splash. Finishing off with a score of 292.25. That is almost 40 points more than her
Prelim
I'm
score.
sorry, that is almost 40 points more
Yep.
than her prelim score.
Yep.
It's nice, it's always nice to have that improvement.
Yep. Louisa
Louisa.
finishing strong.
Very
That was
strong.
Quite a beautiful dive, and also, I mean, I love seeing her do this well because I can see a very easy transition to 10 meter from this.
100%. She's so confident. She's so tight. That was a lot better than in her prelim. She didn't do very well in the prelim in this dive. Much better here in the final. Kiritu from Finland on the 5 meter. Back 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist.
Quite a nice ending for her. This dive is one that you need to control quite a bit. You got quite a bit of time to do not a lot of rotation, but you do have 1.5 twists. So it's a medium that you need to find, and I think she did quite a good job of managing it.
I absolutely agree. Yep, just a little bit short on the entry there. You really learn to control things like this actually in the very beginning of your practice where you're doing entries off the 5 meter, 7 meter, 10 meter, falling off, rolling off, really helping control the line on the bottom.
Next we have the Romanian diver doing the same dive but on 5 meter.
Not too bad. Again, just a little bit short on the entry, not squeezing tight, not having that straight up and down line. But you know what? It's a lead up for the platform for the 10 meter to add another another flip to that dive, making it a 2.5, a somersault, 1.5 flip. She was in the final. She did a really nice job.
And improved on her score as well, so that's always good to see.
Now we have Presley. So Presley is going into this dive currently in 6th. She doesn't need a lot of points on this to be up in that podium position.
And she's got a lot of space to improve from prelims. The prelim one was not anything that we
Want to see ever again.
expect or want to see from her, and she has a lot of potential with this one.
A really, really very similar to Mathilde. Great takeoff, really strong, confident, high up. It's really tricky. You don't want to go short. You don't want to go over. You really want to go straight in, especially your last dive in the final. She could have just stretched a tiny bit more on that entry to avoid that larger splash.
I mean, from experience, generally with dives like this, when you have so much adrenaline, sometimes it's really hard to control it, and you're afraid of going over, so you anticipate the entry too much, and you end up going short. It's kind of like the opposite effect of what you want, but like we said, learning and experience, and you know, she'll remember this event and she'll learn from it and take it to the next one.
These are, and the Junior Worlds and Junior Pan Ams are such great events because they are international, but they're still junior. They're supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be light. It's such a great learning experience. I think Presley did a really nice job.
Up we have Molly Gray doing a back 2.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist on 10 meter. Another high degree of difficulty dive. Overall, quite a good dive. On the entry, a little bit out of control going over. I find that it comes a little bit more from the top. It was a little bit more whippy. We didn't get quite that direction up before the twist, but the connection after the twist into the pike was quite good. So overall, a good dive and room for improvement.
Next up, Ruby from Australia, competing the same dive on the 10 meter, the back 2.5 somersault, 1.5 twist. She definitely has room for improvement in the final on this dive, receiving 4.5s in the prelim with a total of 43.2. Hopefully she can finish off on a strong note here in this final.
That one was a little bit too straight up for my liking. I think she has, you know, everything she needs to improve on it. I think it was a great twist. It's just not enough rotation into that pike, into that connection, and it would have been really hard for her to get that one straight up and down just from the beginning. But overall, you know, still great pike, great twist, and a lot of room for improvement. She just needs to be a little bit more strong on that takeoff.
It is really nice to see those girls doing those big dives, and she's definitely going to learn from this. Aaliyah from Mexico on the 7 meter, the 2.5 back somersault tuck position. Well, there was
She managed that quite well.
a lot of focus in the beginning. She took some time. We definitely could have seen a little bit more from her off the platform. Maybe a little bit more jump, a little bit of head tucked in for that rotation. It was a bit worrisome on the takeoff, falling back, not jumping very high, but she held on, she kicked when she needed to, and she stretched. Finishing off this event with a score of 288.1.
Coming up, we have Mathilde from Canada doing her last dive of the event, and in her 2.5 somersaults tuck position on 7 meter, which is again a dive that I enjoy watching her do. In and out, I train at the same pool as her, so I get to see her grow and practice, and I mean, watching her compete right now is super exciting.
Very, very powerful on that takeoff. It's good to be powerful. You just have to learn to, you know, harness it in on the bottom of the dive. Just coming out a snippet too late. She had so much time to search for the water, feeling the pressure, feeling the stress. You know, us here in Canada, we know what she's capable of. You know, you see it almost every day. There's so much potential. She made the final.
She's going to leave disappointed, I think, a little bit right now, but I think she's going to look back on it, rewatch the event, and see, you know, there's so much potential. She's so powerful, and, you know, a lot to come for her.
We're going to see now our other inward 3.5 somersault tuck position up on the platform on the 10 meter. Anna from the United States. Again, this is a very big dive.
And also a scary dive to learn and a scary dive to do at this level, at this age.
I did try it twice, and I did inward triple and inward quad, but never the 3.5. Wow.
She finished that quite well. I mean, I think the top, I was a little bit uncomfortable with the top. I saw a little bit of a, not necessarily a distance issue, but not it wasn't as, the direction, close. Yeah, the direction wasn't what we would want to see.
No, just as we say, a little cutoff, and that is very normal, especially when you're learning these big dives. You're trying to get the rotation, but like we've said before, the jump is also important. The distance is important. There's so many tiny things, but Anna, great job. Score of 305.4. in the final.
And she'll secure herself a medal.
The same score that she got in the prelim.
Exactly the same score.
That
doesn't happen very often.
No,
that's a very consistent list.
Consistency is key.
Maisie Bond doing a reverse 2.5 tuck on 10 meter. Prelim score was amazing. It was a beautiful dive, and this is generally a very consistent dive for her. She shows a lot of control. And generally a nice kick out on this one.
Hopefully she can receive 8.5 like she did in the prelim. Wow.
Beautiful. What a way to finish. And a jump and a kick out.
So that was really, I have shivers.
It was a good
That
one.
was really beautiful.
I love watching this dive when it's done well. This is going to be very similar to the scores that she had in
Almost
prelims.
identical. You know, it's very similar to hitting a golf ball the exact same way 3 times in a row. That was same.
Exactly the same score as prelims, which is amazing.
Wow.
She'll be very happy with that finish. Our last diver of the event, we have Charlie doing a back 2.5 somersaults with 1.5 twist on the 10 meter. Same degree of difficulty as the dive you just saw. Oh no, sorry. Not the same at all. Same degree of difficulty as her last one. This is a dive that I've seen her consistently rep. And from competing with her, I know that she can do this for, you know, a good 70, 75 points.
Yep, she got 72 points in the prelim. Wow.
And she will definitely get around that again.
That feels so nice to finish off the event. So strong. Yes. What a beautiful, beautiful dive from Charlie. She's really a gorgeous diver. She's confident. She's receiving crazy scores over here, 8s and 9s.
What a beautiful way to finish. And she will be our champion.
Our champion with a score of 345.3. That was some really nice diving from Charlie.
And, you know, we're talking about consistency, and she was only 0.2 off of her prelim score. There are so many consistent girls in this event. It's insane.
It's insane, and just proving that that's what's important, consistency.
Oh, look at that excitement.
A lot of love from her teammates. Really making her way on the international scene.
So overall, quite a competitive event. I mean, we saw a lot of good dives, a lot of high DD coming up, a lot of 10-meter dives, which is super exciting. And I mean, look at the scores, 345. That's a pretty good score to end with.
I couldn't agree more. That was a really fun and exciting event to watch. There was a variety of things happening, and yeah, congratulations to the B girls up on the platform. Well, this finishes the events for today. Thank you for listening, Kaylee. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I will see you soon.
And we'll see you next time.
The medal ceremony will be coming up very soon for the boys B 3-meter event, as well as the girls B platform final event. La cérémonie des médailles sera dans quelques minutes pour la finale aux 3 mètres garçons et la finale plateforme filles. Merci. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a look at our video boards. You see a highlight reel of our last event. Coming out of this highlight package, we will do an interview on the pool deck with our world champion, followed by the victory ceremonies for the boys B 3-meter and the girls B platform events.
Okay, everyone, I'm standing here with world champion diver Charlie Petroff of Australia. First of all, congratulations, Charlie.
Thank you.
You're on top of the world. How does it feel?
Oh, this is a great feeling. So I'm feeling really, really good right now. Bit overexcited, to be honest.
Well, you have a right to be overexcited. Congratulations once again. Take us through the motions. I mean, before your last dive, you had your work cut out for you. Maisie was amazing just before you. You were just as amazing. You had to be near perfect. How did it feel up there just before your last dive?
It was definitely a tough competition. With first dive, not so great, but then to try and come back is always a struggle. But this event was full of so many amazing divers, and going after Macy was very nerve-wracking, almost a near-perfect dive, and it's always scary going after that. But I told myself, you know what, you've done this so many times, do it one more time and you'll be right.
And then you'll take the time, I guess, to celebrate when and what will be the next time you'll do this.
I will probably go home and sleep tonight. Not very well, but I've got comp tomorrow anyway, so the next dive will be with Synchro, so I'm excited for that too, so it should be great.
Congratulations once again, Charlie. You gave us a great show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy world champion Charlie Petroff of Australia.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very special treat for you. Please draw your attention to the video boards. This is a highlight package on how our medalists achieved their podium performance. Everyone, please welcome the medalists and presenters for the boys B 3-meter event.
Veuillez maintenant accueillir les médaillés et les présentateurs pour l'épreuve de tremplin 3 mètres garçons.
The medals will be presented by
Les médailles seront présentées par
member FINA Technical Diving Committee,
les membres du comité technique de plongeon de la FIFA,
Jesus Mena Campos, accompanied by
accompagné de
former President Diving Plongeon Canada,
l'ex-président de Plongeon Canada,
Kathy Seaman. In third place and winner of the bronze medal,
en troisième place, gagnant de la médaille de bronze,
representing Italy,
représentant l'Italie,
Valerio Mosca. In second place and winner of the silver medal,
en deuxième place, gagnant de la médaille d'argent,
representing Canada,
représentant le Canada, Arnaud Corbeil.
winner of the gold medal and your 2022 FINA World Diving Champion,
gagnant de la médaille d'or et votre champion du monde junior de plongeon de la FINA 2022.
representing Ukraine,
Représentant l'Ukraine,
Kirill Buliko. Please join us for the national anthem of Ukraine.
veuillez maintenant vous joindre à nous pour la présentation de l'hymne national de l'Ukraine.
Please show your appreciation for our 2022 FINA World Junior Diving Championship medalists.
Veuillez applaudir nos médaillés des championnats du monde junior de plongeon de la FINA 2022.
Congratulations to our medalists in the men's 3 meter. Upcoming, the girls B platform medal ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, special treat for you, your attention to the video board. This is how our finalists got to the podium, a highlight reel of their performances. Everyone, please welcome the medalists and presenters for the girls B platform event.
Veuillez maintenant accueillir les médaillés et les présentateurs pour l'épreuve de plateforme filles B.
The medals will be presented by
Les médailles seront présentées par
FINA Sports Medicine Committee member
les membres du comité de médecine sportive de la FINA,
Dr. James Miller, accompanied by
accompagnés par
former President Diving Plongeon Canada,
l'ex-présidente de Plongeon Canada,
Kathy Seaman. In third place, and winner of the bronze medal, representing United States of America,
en troisième place, gagnante de la médaille de bronze, représentant les États-Unis,
Anna Lemkin. In second place, and winner of the silver medal, representing Great Britain,
en deuxième place, gagnant de la médaille d'argent, représentant la Grande-Bretagne,
Maisie Bond. Winner of the gold medal and your 2022 FINA World Junior Diving Champion, representing Australia,
gagnante de la médaille d'or et votre championne du monde junior de plongeon de la FINA 2022, représentant l'Australie,
Charlie Petrov. Please join us for the national anthem of Australia.
Veuillez maintenant vous joindre à nous pour la présentation de l'hymne national de l'Australie.
Please show your appreciation for our 2022 FINA World Junior Diving Championship medalists.
Veuillez applaudir nos médaillés des championnats du monde junior de plongeon de la FINA 2022.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes day 2 of the World Junior Diving Championships. Please enjoy a highlight reel rollout for your end of day highlights. Our thanks to our production crew for putting together our live stream performances.